Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, Mofan was somehow able to awaken 2 rare talents, but kept it a secret until he had to use them in a difficult duel. He's eventually forced to move to another city where he would shockingly awaken another 2 talents. After rescuing the city from a deadly plague, Mofan chooses a reward that allows him to enter the prestigious Fire Element class at school. The professor there hates him but gives him a 100 ranking out of 1,000 students in the class. This is actually terrible though, as Mofan insulted the entire class, and over 200 of the students below him have challenged him to take his rank. Mofan managed to defeat several of them, but now must face his toughest opponent yet. The story continues just after Zhao used his light magic to shield himself against Mofan. However, he has now switched to attacking with fire magic, and everyone marvels at the 2 fire spirit users. Some spectators point out though that Zhao is at full power, while Mofan is most likely exhausted from fighting for so long. Mofan's haters smile as many of the students are glad that he will finally lose. Bai becomes concerned for Mofan though, as he is seemingly consumed by Zhao's flames. Just then, everyone is shocked to see that Mofan has used his nether shield to protect himself. It's clear to the teachers though that Zhao's next attack will finally bring Mofan down, and they wonder why Zhao has to be so cruel as it's only a competition between students. Zhao goes in for a final attack and manages to push Mofan back. The fire is ferocious as it begins to burn away Mofan's clothes. Students cheer for his demise, and Bai is certain that things won't end well if this continues. Zhao is confident he has won, but Mofan is quick to point out that he never should have dropped his light shield. Mofan sends out spikes from his shield, forcing Wei to rescue Zhao from the devastating attack. The crowd is in absolute disbelief as Zhao just barely managed to survive. Mofan points out that the defense on his shield isn't very good, but the spikes are great for counterattacks, and he determines that it was a good purchase. Zhao is at a loss for words, and Wei scolds him as he explains that if that was a fight against a demon beast, then his life would have been over. Wei demands that he leave the arena, and Zhao exclaims that he at least managed to do some damage to Mofan, causing the crowd to erupt in cheers. As Zhao makes his exit, he is glad to see someone, but everyone is then shocked when this person slaps him right across the face. No one can believe that someone would dare strike the number 101 ranked Zhao, but quickly realize that they are part of the same family. Mofan sees that it's his old friend Manyan, and jokes about how he still has the same rude attitude after all this time. Manyan explains that he can't help but care for his friend, and no matter who it is, he won't be polite to anyone that hurts him. Manyan points out how Mofan hasn't changed at all. He laments how if it wasn't for his brother participating in the massive fight, then he never would have even found out that Mofan was back. Manyan feared that the next time he saw him, he would be in a coffin, and is glad to see him running around with all that energy. They compliment each other on how healthy they look, and Mofan admires Manyan's new hair color. Wei reminds them that there is still a competition going on, so Manyan heads to the stands to watch. Mofan defeats another student, but he's clearly becoming exhausted. Spectators realize this as they state that the Great Demon King is finally running out of steam, and determine that they only need one other person in the top 200 to show up so they can win. Others are certain that Mofan's situation is even worse, and point out how anyone above rank 600 that isn't an idiot will be able to finish him off. Students from other classes believe that they shouldn't be so happy since they have lost over 200 times in a row, but they claim it's better than complete defeat. If that happens, then the entire school would make fun of them. Wei then calls down the last challenger, rank 173 Zhu Tong. A flashback shows that Zhu Tong was given money by another student, who simply explained that he needed a little help with something, and he will give him more money after he does. Zhu Tong implores Wei to start the fight already so Mofan doesn't have much time to rest, and thinks about how all he needs to do is send Mofan to the hospital for a few months in order to make a lot of money. Wei prepares to begin the fight, but Dean Chao arrives to explain that there has been enough fighting. He recommends to Mofan that he should step down, since there is no point in risking his life as he has nothing to gain from the competition. Mofan agrees with this, and Chao tells him, since he is still just a freshman, to apologize to Professor Wei and the rest of the Fire campus. Mofan understands completely. He apologizes to everyone for being so impulsive, and hopes that they'll just let it slide. The Fire campus students are furious though, as they all want heartfelt and individual apologies. Wei points out to Chao that if he doesn't force Mofan to lower his head and apologize properly, then none of the other classes on the main campus will ever respect the Fire class. Chao points out that even if they insist on fighting, Zhu Tong is no match for Mofan. Wei states that Mofan has already lost all his strength, and can't understand how Zhu Tong could possibly lose. Chao explains by whispering something shocking in Wei's ear, and he instantly announces the end of the fight. Obviously, this doesn't go well with the fire students as an uproar ensues. Wei explains how severely disappointed he is in all of his students, as the challenges have lost any semblance of meaning. He had hoped that every student on the fire campus aspired to become an outstanding magician. That is why he spoke so harshly of Mofan when he transferred to their class. He thought Mofan had abandoned his other element. However, Mofan has now demonstrated his immense power to them, and if any of them are not satisfied with the outcome of the competition, then they need to challenge him directly. Wei hopes that one day one of his students will be able to defeat Mofan, as only then can that be considered true strength. Mofan greets the dean but just gets scolded by him as he asks how difficult it is for him to stay out of trouble. Bai points out how severe Mofan's injuries are and offers to heal them. Bai helps him out but then asks if Mofan has ever used alternative healing methods. Mofan has no clue what that is, and Bai advises him to get a much more comprehensive examination done, as something about his constitution seems a bit strange. Bai suspects that there is a severe and volatile factor in his body, something similar to dark magic. Mofan thinks about how good Bai is as he is somehow able to detect the remnants of the demon element still lingering in his body. Of course, Mofan doesn't mention anything about it and thanks Bai for his help. The exhausted Mofan returns home where he instantly falls asleep, and Mu scolds him for showing off his strength even though he just came back to school. When he wakes up, Mofan thinks about how students on the main campus are much stronger than he expected. The ones he fought weren't even in the top 100, so he can only imagine how strong the students ranked in the top 50 are. Not to mention the monsters that must be ranked in the top 10. On top of that, this is just the fire campus, and there are still many other classes in the main campus. He acknowledges that he hasn't trained much in the past 6 months, and must now find ways to vigorously improve as soon as possible. He would also like to get his hands on some high-grade armor. Unfortunately, the snakeskin he received from the mythical snake is one of a kind, and finding a skilled craftsman to make armor from it will take some time. The next day, Mofan goes to visit Manyan in the hopes that he can use his family's auction house to help earn him some money. He explains all the valuables he has to sell, and Manyan wonders which girl in his class is chasing his money. Mofan asks his old friend to keep things professional, and explains that he needs money to pay to have some armor made. Manyan agrees to help him, but Mofan gets distracted by a scroll. Manyan explains that they are secret information scrolls. Every scroll has tidbits of secret knowledge. He explains that travelers will sometimes stumble upon some uncertain information. This information is then written in scrolls and sold at various prices. If the person buying one is lucky enough, then the cost of the scroll is definitely worth it. Mofan can't understand why someone would pay for knowledge that they aren't even certain of. Manyan retorts by giving him an example of a scroll that might have the location of an area with boatloads of soul seed fragments, or maybe places that extremely rare demon beasts often visit. Mofan finally understands as he states that if the information is true, then a lot of profit can come from buying the scroll, but if it's fake or outdated, then it's just wasted money. Manyan points out that it's not as much of a gamble as it seems. The reputation of the person who wrote the scroll can also be taken into consideration. What's even better is that if you buy scrolls from different people, but they contain information that is related to something, then the chance of that thing being true is extremely high. Mofan excitedly asks how much they are, but Manyan just gives him a couple. The first one claims that the swordfish ocean demon has been spotted in the Hungpu River, and chance encounters may occur during the lunar eclipse. The swordfin has a really high market price, but it's the kind of monster that usually lives deep inside the ocean, and they aren't interested in catching fish. The next scroll surprisingly reveals that there are indications of a flame bell being born in the northern Burning Valley. Manyan explains that the northern Burning Valley is located right by Dunhuang, and it's known as a hotspot for elemental beasts. What's even more amazing about the information is that the flame bell is the rarest type of elemental demon, a lifeform born by condensing the flames of heaven and earth, and its value cannot be measured. Anyone that signs a contract with it could easily reach the top 10 in power. Manyan points out that Mofan also has the fire element, so the flame bell would be perfect for him. It could even unlock some secret skills, and Manyan even predicts that it would make Mofan invincible. Mofan thinks about how this is definitely the perfect contract beast for him, and demands more information. Manyan states that that won't be so difficult. The scrolls only hold info on a set number of topics, so he just needs to buy out all the scrolls related to Dun Huang. That way he can basically find out whether or not the first scroll is legit. Mofan doesn't hesitate for a second and buys them all. Manyan brings all the scrolls and they go through several. Much of the information is unrelated, but they eventually piece together the location, the route, and the risks. Manyan is surprised to hear that Mofan is already ready to go, even though he barely has any information. However, Mofan states that even if he doesn't find what he is looking for, he will just consider it another good life experience. Manyan wishes him good luck on his adventure, but Mofan is quick to point out that he never said he was going alone. Manyan is surprised to hear that Mofan wants to drag him along as well, and he does his best to fight it. Manyan gets bullied into agreeing, but explains that the two of them won't be able to accomplish the goal alone. They need helpers and they have to be trustworthy. Luckily, Mofan explains that he has already invited Ling Ling and Zhang. Manyan points out that the Burning Valley is infamous for how dangerous it is. They will most likely be wounded at some point, so they should find someone who can use healing magic. Going without one could mean death, but they can't think of anyone. Manyan remembers that Mofan's sister uses healing magic, but Mofan instantly declines and reminds him that she is in a wheelchair. Manyan persists by stating that Mofan can just use his Swiftstar Wolf to protect her, and she can also cast psychic magic to calm down the elemental beasts. Mofan explains that she doesn't have any experience dealing with demon beasts. If her going was the only way for them to go, then he would rather not go at all. Manyan states that it was merely a suggestion and they can find another solution. Afterward, Mofan goes to meet with Ling Ling, who explains that she has collected all available hunter maps and drawn a map of the Burning Valley. Just then, Manyan arrives with a girl that everyone assumes is his new girlfriend, but he explains that it's his cousin, Lin. They have worked together before and she is extremely reliable. Mofan doesn't mind, but explains that the trip will be extremely dangerous, and there isn't much benefit for them. Lin doesn't mind and is just doing it for the experience. Ling Ling takes this time to explain that if they want to reach the Burning Valley, they will somehow have to pass through the Drifting Sand River first. The problem is that it's ridiculously long and it's near impossible to get through. This is because it's the natural habitat of a type of earth element beast, the elephant sand beast. There's a massive population living there, and they will be found in hordes throughout the river. Mofan wonders if it would be possible to just force their way through, but Ling Ling explains that an entire army wouldn't even be able to. The only solution is to find a mage with a psychic element. If they can't find one, then their journey will be over before it even begins. Mofan is utterly disappointed to hear this, but surprised to see that he is getting a phone call from his sister. Thanks for watching part 23. This is an ongoing anime, so it'll be another week before the next episode is out.